Hey, I'm Bob Murray, and welcome to the Philadelphia, excuse me, Outdoor Expo. We're having, oh gosh, excuse me, talking all day long gets you, doesn't it,
It
Chris?
sure does.
We're here at the expo, and I have Chris from the Backwood Angler TV show, and Chris, you have a DVD out, but it's not about fishing. It's
No,
about what?
it's about keeping you fishing. It really is. Most of the guys that I know that fish out of an outboard jet boat, you use it in very shallow water, and you tend to beat up that most important part, right? And if you can't get that thing running, you can't get to the spot. So it's called a 30-minute PM, and it's just based on if you do this once or twice a year, it'll almost ensure that your jet boat and your jet engine is running correctly to get you to the spots all season long.
And that's with any outboard or jet. I mean, the conditions that we put them under are pretty tough.
Right.
And especially with a jet boat, you have more of a tendency to bang into rocks than most people with prop boats.
Right.
With a prop boat, you get pretty much a lot more damage, but you still can damage that the impeller and the stuff on the jet boats.
It's the majority of what happens is we're fishing very shallow water, so you've got to traverse across. I'd say 6, 5, even 4 inches of water over rocks, right? Is primarily where the Delaware, Susquehanna, and Juniata River are. Mm-hmm. And it's just one of those things where you miss a call. It takes one rock to be sticking up a little bit more than that, and you're going to start to damage the stuff. So if you just take this time to sharpen the impeller, make sure your grates are straight, and just understanding what the outboard pump is doing, you can keep that thing running pristine with just 30 minutes of investment.
Let's just talk about the difference between a prop and the jet. What does the jet do versus the prop?
Okay, well, prop has a little bit more power because you can actually change the pitch of the prop, to get exactly what load you want. Mm-hmm. And the prop sticks down below the boat when it's sitting at rest, probably almost 18 to 24 inches below some boats. When it comes on plane, you probably can go on about 12 inches, plus you probably need that 4 or 5 inches above it. So 18 inches is about as low as you're ever going to get. Mm-hmm. With an inboard jet, it's the same exact power head, and you put a lower unit on it, and that jet's going to sit up about 7 or 8 inches higher right off the bat. So it sits higher on the boat, and you can, if your boat's not tunneled, a standard hull will probably run in about 4.5 feet of water. And what it does is it sucks the water up into the impeller, just like a water pump, mm-hmm. and it shoots it out the other side. And it's a combination of that changing the direction of the water and pushing it out the back of the jet pump that gives you your propulsion.
And it's a little different than steering with a jet boat versus a prop, because that prop is actually what we call digging.
Right, the prop's digging, and you have that skeg that goes down and really holds you to it. With a jet boat, especially if you get one on a flat bottom boat or one that's just a very, very low rake of a boat, you can slide a lot more. It's turning. You have to turn. I always tell people, you want to think about that turn long before you get there.
Right. Yeah. And I've been out with you guys and stuff like that, but you see a guy with a jet boat trying to put it on the trailer in wind, you want to see an expert.
Yeah. You're almost. It's almost like anything else. The first year, I always tell people, the first year of owning a jet boat is usually when you do the most damage to it. After that, you're seasoned enough that all the damage you've done to it, how to read the water, what to see. And you pretty much protect yourself after that. But that first investment, that first year, is a lot of hard knocks, if you know what I mean.
And you have the other thing. What is it? The plastic thing that you have?
It's
the protection thing.
It's a UHMW poly intake, mm-hmm. And what that does is it'll take a few extra knocks rather than the cast intake that when you hit it, mm-hmm. you can shatter it or break it. And if it keeps you on the water a couple more times, you can still ruin that thing too. But it takes a lot more hit to that to damage it.
And again, like I say, if you're fishing jigs and you're not losing them, you're not fishing them, right?
Right.
If you're on a jet boat and you're not getting close to the rocks,
it's that old question, right? It's not not if you're going to hit, it's when, right? So that's pretty much how a jet boat is.
Now the problem again with some of the jet boats, leaves.
Yep.
Ice.
Ice, yeah, just recently.
Yeah. Again, explain what happens to that, so you have to keep an eye on that, or you're going to overheat the.
Right,
yeah.
right. And usually you can hear it more than feel it too. Mm-hmm. What happens is when you run in the fall time, there's like that 10-day period in November where the leaves are just all over the river. And you'll come up river and you'll start to suck them, and it actually starts to block the grates of the pump. And it won't allow the proper amount of water to fill the pump, so you get a lot of air ingested in there. And what ends up happening is it starts to rev the engine, and it starts to cut down on your power. And you can actually, if you do it long enough, you can actually burn holes into your impeller.
Oh my gosh, because of the,
Yeah, yep.
the heat that's generated from the
I actually have one that I bring to the shows and show people what that looks like. I mean, it's amazing that air could do that much damage.
That's unbelievable.
Yep.
That's unbelievable. And again, the jet boat, I mean, they've come on in recent years. I mean, God, 15 years ago, hardly anybody knew what a
Right.
jet boat, unless you were in
remember,
Alaska.
right. I remember when I first got mine on the Delaware, there was only one other guy that had one, and he had it on a skiff. Yeah, 20 years ago, there probably was. You'd go to put gas in that. This is a great story. I put gas in it about 20 years ago, and a guy comes and goes, "Hey man, you lost your lower unit." And I said, "What do you mean?" He goes, "Look, there's no prop on your motor." I said, "Oh, it's a jet motor. Don't worry about it." The other problem I had was when I first got on the river, you'd run up through a chute and someone would be following you and not realizing that you have a jet. They try to follow your line.
Boom.
Oh, you'd hear terrible things from behind. So I put the words "jet" big on the back of my motor back in the late 80s, early 90s.
And I mean, especially if you're fishing the Delaware River, the upper Delaware River,
Yep.
and the Susquehanna, it's almost a must to get to where those spots are.
It really is.
Yeah.
If you want to travel more than just the pool that you're launching in, you really do need a jet.
Right. And this DVD that you have, it's worth it when you purchase it, just to save yourself.
What I always tell people, listen, if you don't get your $10 out of the jig, give me a call. And if you're not getting that much out of that DVD, just give me a call, because there's a lot of information about how to sharpen the impeller and how to keep that thing running smooth. It also explains how it works and how to take it apart.
Oh,
and then the more familiar you are with it, the easier it is for you to fix it, because sometimes when you're out in the water, that's when the mishaps usually happen. It doesn't usually happen at your garage.
No, usually it doesn't happen. People who are listening to us over the internet and stuff like that, what's the web address for that if they're interested in getting hold of you guys?
It's backwoodsangler.com, or you can go to the Backwoods Angler TV site, backwoodsanglertv.com. Either site will link you up to the DVD.
Well, look, if you have a jet boat or you're thinking about getting a jet boat, you got to go to their site and check this out, because for $10, that's going to save you hundreds of dollars in anguish and just problems.
You said it.
And whatever. When you're out on the water, you want to go fishing. You don't
Right.
want to go fixing.
Exactly
You know
right.
what I'm saying? Hey, thanks, Chris. I'm Bob Murray. Come out to the show. There's tons of stuff. You can talk to Chris, and he's got a plethora of information, trust me, about your jet boat, or if you're thinking about getting a jet boat, come to see these guys at Backwood Anglers. You won't be sorry.